What's up, you beautiful Redditors? Hope you're having a fantastic Saturday. Welcome to the R News Evening Show. And let's just jump into it. From r/news. Post-election audits find no fraud in Arizona. I want to know if there was election fraud in Kentucky and South Carolina. Good lord, what is happening in there? Massive voter fraud in multiple states, in the most closely watched election in history. With both parties watching it, localized entirely within swing states that Trump is losing. You got proof? Yes. May I see it? No. Probably shouldn't have talked so much crap about McCain. Ding, ding, ding. Also, in AZ we've been undergoing Californication with tech companies starting to relocate to Phoenix for the lower cost of living. He said he was pro-abortion on the campaign trail during the primary. Like a week later, he changed his stance to women should be prosecuted for getting them. It was wild. Just his 3 marriages should be enough for Mormons to not vote for him. But it isn't. Also, Elliot Brody, an RNC money guy, paid $1.8 million for some woman to get an abortion. I remember some people speculating that that payout was actually for a Trump abortion. I was inclined to believe that. The only thing he did wrong with his 3 marriages in Mormons' eyes is not have them at the same time. Rule of thumb: you don't crap on Springsteen in NJ, Dolly Parton in Tennessee, and certainly not McCain in Arizona. That is how to lose those states. You're watching the R News Show. From r/politics, America's top military officer says we do not take an oath to a king. Get fricked, Donald. We literally fought a war over this very idea. And it was the first war too. I mean, the first war was some guy in Newark leading 1,200 bewildered farmers against Lagash. No, everyone knows history only began on June 14, 1775, when the gods of war created the U.S. Army. You know, I'm having a hard time recalling a point where the military was following a Trump style. Request anyone have one in forgetting? Can they do the same for the white supremacist caravan on its way to D.C. for their stupid rally? He didn't even get that expensive military parade he wanted. Tears of joy. Wasn't he jealous that the French had a big parade for Bastille Day and wanted one for him? I'm imagining the US military isn't really kitted out for a large-scale parade as it's on active duty all over the world, whereas most of the French army is based in France within 500 miles of the capital. Exactly. Macron invited him for Bastille Day parade, and then he wanted the same at home. It's impossible to be objectively unbiased towards such a thin-skinned egomaniac, cheating orange idiot. I really try to bridge the divide, but how anyone can look at this fool and listen to him talk and say, "That's my guy," is beyond me. It's as though some witch cast a spell on him as a baby that granted him immunity from being judged harshly by 50% of the population. You're watching the R News Show. From r/politics, lawyers litigating for Trump suddenly remember their licenses are on the line if they lie to a judge. So if there's no evidence, what are these lawsuits even saying? You can't just go to a judge and say, "Give me this because I want it." The lawsuits have 3 purposes. 1. To build public perception that the vote was rigged. 2. To distract people while the Trump admin cleans house, to avoid 25A and sets things up for the next item. 3. They are going to push Republican state legislators to override a vote and assign electors to Trump. The plan was never to win these lawsuits. Donnie thinks he can, and so far his idiot lawyers and sycophants are giving in. It's also why he has such crappy lawyers. What do you mean? Giuliani did a fantastic job at the Four Seasons Total Landscaping press conference in a dirty parking lot next to a porn store and near a crematorium. And Rudy is going to fight all the way to the Supreme Courtyard by Marriott if need be. In summary, the Trump campaign appeared in court and they neither identified nor alleged any systemic fraud. The case focuses on 592 ballots that have not been counted in a county where the president is behind by 130,000 votes, and in a state where the president is behind by 46,000 votes. So Trump tried to throw out ballots which the board had already identified as having issues and didn't count. Edit. Spelling. You're watching the R News Show. From r/politics, Trump asked aides if he could pursue a wild plan to replace the Electoral College with loyalists. Who would ignore the vote? Report says. He claimed the elections were rigged, the largest fraud committed against democracy. Yet, he went golfing the next day. He's a lady piece of crap. Don't bring women into this. George Carlin was the master of this. Are they still into Minions? I am not a Trump supporter. Thanks. From what I understand, quite a number of states have already moved to making the states popular vote be the deciding factor in assigning electors. No, meaning, the popular vote is binding. In part, Republicans also love it because it gives rural states and swing states disproportionate power. If the Electoral College comes up where I live, the default response is, hell no, I like it. If we didn't have it, California and New York would be the only states that matter. The report notes though that according to the sources, it was not a detailed conversation, or really a serious one, and did not reflect any obsessive desire of Trump to remain in office. Oh well, aren't we glad that he didn't end up deciding to stage a freaking coup? The fact that the President of the United States even asked about this is freaking insane. Can you imagine the meltdown Fox News would have had if a Democrat had asked about doing this? Those are often the same people who like Trump cause he tells it like it is. You're watching the R News Show. From r/news. Proud Boys leader trying to rebrand the group as explicitly anti-Semitic. You know what our unpopular movement needs more of? Hating Jews. I think that's what's been missing. Can't even be unique in their hatred. People been trying to hate on Jews for thousands of years. Yet they still be doing alright, I think. Good for the Jews. Keep throwing that middle finger to those hate groups by succeeding. We do basically have a holiday, Purim, with the central theme of we lived and you didn't. It's a good time. A friend of mine throws a Purim party every year. We all get drunk, in costume, for some reason, not sure if that's traditional, and she reads aloud the Book of Esther while we cheer and jeer. So much fun. How does one get invited to this event? I'm not Jewish and I don't even drink. That just sounds rad. You can leave your friends behind, cause your friends don't dance, and if they don't dance, then they're no friends of mine. Yom Kippur, come for the guilt, stay because you're too hungry to move. Change the name to Proud Boys, this has to be a joke. I don't know how anyone could hate Mel Brooks. They're about to start devouring each other like starving rats. You're watching the R News Show. From r/politics, law firm stops representing Trump campaign in Pennsylvania suit. Two possible reasons: risk of being disbarred, risk of not being paid. The article hints of a third. A bunch of employees were upset and going to quit. No employees equals no billing. A bunch of employees were upset, which is saying something since they are used to doing this kind of work and getting criticized for it. This must be beyond anyone's tolerance level. Porter Wright Morris, an author, the law firm leading the Trump campaign's efforts to cast doubt on the presidential election results in Pennsylvania, abruptly withdrew from a federal lawsuit that it filed days earlier on behalf of President Trump. Plaintiffs and Porter Wright have reached a mutual agreement that plaintiffs will be best served if Porter Wright withdraws, the law firm said in a federal court filing. The firm's withdrawal followed an article in the New York Times on Monday described internal tensions at the firm about its work for Mr. Trump's campaign in Pennsylvania. Some employees said they were concerned that the firm was being used to undercut the integrity of the electoral process. One Porter Wright lawyer resigned in protest over the summer. Porter Wright, based in Columbus, Ohio, has received at least $727,000 in fees from the Trump campaign and the Republican National Committee, according to federal election disclosures. Sounds like they figured out Trump isn't worth their soul. Edit. It's not worth their souls anymore now that they made a few bucks at it too. Maybe soul isn't the best word to use. And that's where we're going to end today's show. But if you like what you saw, leave a like, and if you want to see more of the R News Show, hit that subscribe button. As always, this has been the R News Show and I'll see you tomorrow.